Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to make a beautiful cold process soap with fresh cucumber and aloe vera gel. Cucumber and aloe vera are great, amazing ingredients to add to your handmade soap because they contain things that help with puffiness, redness, irritation. They add a base for hydration. They're great for anti-aging. And so this type of ingredient will add great label appeal to your soap if you're making it, and it continues to be one of my most popular products. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to make it. I'm also going to be sharing the full recipe in the description box below, so anyone watching this video today can recreate this soap on their own if they like. And for my patrons, I'm going to be providing the full written recipe plus the tutorial in a nice and neat PDF on my Patreon campaign. So if you're interested in that, please head on over to my Patreon campaign where you can unlock that plus 2 years of archived recipes for just a small $5 pledge. Every week we are adding more content to the Patreon campaign, so there's just a ton to take advantage of over there right now, including an exclusive rewards code for either a $5 or $10 off to any purchase at onlinelabels.com. I've teamed up with them, and that is something that they're offering to my patrons as part of a Patreon benefit. So go ahead and take advantage of that if you haven't done that yet. And we offer things like live monthly classes, and I have a lot of fun holiday and fall and winter themed classes coming up in the near future. So head on over and check it out if you're interested. The link is in the description box below. All right, let's make some soap. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and harvest the aloe vera gel out of this plant so we can go ahead and blend it down to use in the soap. So you guys have seen me make a cucumber and aloe soap before. This technique is going to be a little bit different than what I showed you in the past. This is also going to be a palm-free recipe, and it's going to have some ingredients and luxurious oils that I did not include in my last recipe that I shared with you guys. So this one is going to be a little bit different and a little more luxurious feeling. And all we're doing here is just removing the skin. Okay, so all I'm doing is just filleting the gel out of the inside of this skin here, just to get a nice piece of that aloe gel. And that's all you do, just like that. So I'm actually going to be going and weighing it off now. So we're going to be using a total of 2 ounces of beautiful fresh aloe vera gel, and then we're going to be using 2 ounces of cucumber. So I'm just going to fillet. What you do is you just take the spikes off and then take the skin off. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and cut up and weigh off our cucumber. I'm using an organic cucumber that I got from the grocery store, and I'm just peeling off the skin here, and then I'm just going to cut another 2 ounces of cucumber. All right, and then if you have anything left over, of course, you can use it for different recipes. And also, if you have any leftover aloe vera that you've processed, you can freeze it and use it for another project. Okay, so we're just gonna take this over to a high-speed blender, and we're gonna get it all blended up and ready to go. And there we have a beautiful aloe and cucumber puree. It's very liquidy, it feels slightly gelatinous, and we're ready to go move on to the next step. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and blend our oils and our lye and water solution. And for our oils today, we're using avocado oil. It's a great emollient moisturizing oil. We're using hemp seed oil. It's a natural hemp seed oil, and that's great for its anti-inflammatory properties. And we're using olive oil, pure, we're using castor oil, we're using cocoa butter pastilles for hardness, and also it adds healing properties and moisture to the bar, and we're using coconut oil for its hardness and also its cleansing properties. So what we're going to go ahead and do is pour our lye and water solution into the bucket with the oils, and then we're going to blend it up on low till we reach emulsification. I might add also, I've used sodium hydroxide in the lye water solution just so that we get a bit of a harder bar, because we are not using any palm oil in this recipe. Okay, and I'm just going to blend it just to emulsification. I don't want to over blend. Okay, and then I'm going to be splitting this off into 3 separate containers. Just kind of as evenly. I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm just going to pour it in as evenly as possible. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and add in my color. I'm using emerald green from Nurture Soap, and it turns a really beautiful kind of light bluish green in the soap. And I'm also going to be using a little bit of Savage Green or Savage Garden. I think this is a really beautiful color as well. So we're using Savage Garden Mica, also by Nurture Soap. And this one, if I remember correctly, morphs a little bit and it's pretty potent, so I'm using about 1/4 teaspoon there, so it might change to kind of a weird green color, but then it will come back as it cures. And then in this container I have a little bit of titanium dioxide mixed in with some distilled water. Then the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get my cucumber and aloe puree. I'm going to give it a stir. It has a tendency to sort of separate, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a stir before I add it into my ingredients here. Just going to give this a little hand stir. And then I'm just going to divide up the cucumber and aloe evenly between these 3 containers. The hemp seed oil in this recipe is going to give your soap a little bit of a greenish yellow hue. So the greens and the whites are going to go nicely with that. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and just start adding in my cucumber and aloe, just kind of eyeballing. 1/3. It's okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, but this way I'm just making sure my soap is not moving too fast. So I'm just gonna give that a nice stir by hand. And as you can see, my green has morphed to a very odd looking kind of khaki colored green. And that's just what the Savage Garden does. And then it should cure out to just more of a dark kind of foresty looking green. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is, before we blend it up one more time, is add in my fragrance oil. And I am using a really nice fresh fragrance oil by Nature's Garden called Giggles, and it just has a very clean, kind of soapy, effervescent type smell. I thought would go really nicely with a cucumber and aloe soap. Of course, you could get probably a cucumber type smell, but honestly, those cucumber type fragrances just aren't like exactly my favorite, unless you're doing like a, what is that Bath and Body Works one? Oh gosh, cucumber melon, that's what it is. That old school Bath and Body Works one called cucumber melon. That one I like. But the other kind of cucumber smells are not typically my favorite, so I'm just using a very clean, soapy fragrance. Okay. That emerald green that I'm stirring up right here too will actually cure out much lighter and a bit more muted. It's a very nice kind of light minty bluish green almost. Okay, then I'm just going to take my stick blender. I'm going to mix this up to make sure everything's combined. Okay, now what I remember about that Giggles fragrance as well is it does not accelerate trace at all. In fact, it has a tendency to kind of slow down trace a little bit. So we're going to give this a few minutes just to set up a smidge more so that we can go ahead and work on that design that I had planned. So I'll bring you right back when we're ready to pour it into the mold. Okay, so we don't want the soap to be too set up for this technique, but we also don't want it to be too runny. So I'm going to be actually doing a hanger type swirl. So I'm just going to be plopping in my colors randomly down the bottom of the mold until everything is filled up, like that. So this is a great consistency to start with because it's sort of holding its shape, but it will be fluid enough to get that hanger through it. So it is important to use a soap fragrance that's not going to set up too quickly for this type of design. So I'm going to be using a gear tie today. I think I just picked this up at the hardware store, but basically it's a gear tie that I've bent. It's kind of a medium-sized shape into the length of the mold so I can go straight down. And I'm going to go all the way down. I'm going to move a little bit over towards me, up, not breaking all the way through, over, down, over one more time, and up. And that should give us a nice sort of like up and down kind of zigzag look to it. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and tamp it down one more time. And then I think I'm going to use a chopstick just to kind of swirl the top. I'm going to do a shallow kind of figure 8 design, just to kind of get those colors a little bit evenly distributed. And I'm going to give it a good spritz with some 99% rubbing alcohol. So this is going to prevent soda ash from forming on the top. And then I'm going to let this set up overnight for about 24 hours, and I'll be back to cut it. And there you go, everybody. That is how you make a beautiful cucumber and aloe cold processed soap. Please stay tuned for the cutting. All right, everybody, it's been about 24 hours and we are ready to go ahead and cut this beautiful cucumber and aloe vera soap. This is what it looks like. And that green did come back to a nice kind of foresty looking green. Got some nice swirls in there. This soap has some really cool swirls in it. There are a little bit of glycerin rivers happening in here, but I don't mind that. That's just from the excess water. Anyone see the heart? All right, everybody, I'll go ahead and cut the rest off camera. I hope you really liked this video. I hope you learned something or it inspired you, and I also hope you really enjoy this recipe. If you did like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel, share this video with a friend, leave a comment below, and I'll catch you on the next video. Keep shining. Bye.